morning. I'm Jesse with the Turning Post, and today we're going to do our YouTube a little bit different. We're in a small community just about 15 miles southwest of Fort Smith, Arkansas. It's a small community called Pocola, and we're going to be here, instead of being for 3 hours, we're going to be here all day long. We're going to be doing about 5 projects. We're here in support of the Pocola High School shop. And everything that we make today, besides some of the things that we have that we're going to have on silent auction, we're going to donate to the woodshop program here. First of all, I'd like to thank the Pocola community for inviting me. Steve Yandell, who is the shop teacher, put this all together. I want to thank him. I want to thank Mr. Jackson, who is the administrator for the school, and also Mr. Beasley, who is the principal of the school. I want to throw a big congratulations out for the football team who won last night. They beat Tonkawa 52-14. Awesome team. And I just want to wish them for the best for the future, and I hope they go to state this year and win it. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be doing about 5 projects. One project we're going to do is a Christmas ornament. We're going to hollow it out. We're going to do a pepper mill. We're going to do a platter, and we're going to do a hummingbird house and maybe a duck call. And I want to try to get some of the students involved in this if some of them show up today. And I'm also going to try to work with Stephen and help him out, and we're going to see if we can kind of have a little instructional period. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do a hummingbird house. And this hummingbird house is a 2x2 piece of wood, squared, and it's 5 inches long. We'll use a 1.5 inch Forstner bit, and we will take it down just a little bit below 2.5 inches. It's going to be below the perch hole. The entry hole is 1.5 inches to the middle, and we'll use a 1 inch Forstner bit. And then we'll go another inch, which will be a total of 2.5 inches in the middle, and then we'll use an 1/8 inch drill bit for our perch. First thing we need to do, after we get those holes drilled, we need to mark your centers. We're going to have to make a jam chuck, and so I've marked my centers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the jam chuck. It's going to be made out of maple, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tenon on it. Now, the tenon diameter depends on your chuck. This chuck is an easy wood chuck. I know the dimensions of it. I know that the diameter is anywhere from 1 5/8 of an inch in diameter to 1 3/4. And we'll probably make ours 1 3/4. Take out your calipers. And this jam chuck can be used about any time for anything. Also, I want to thank Easy Wood for helping sponsor this demonstration. I'll be using Easy Wood tools today, and right now I've got a mini rougher, and I'm going to go ahead and start working on my tenon. My tenon's going to be, the length of it is going to be a 1/4 inch, and you want it to make sure you don't bottom out on your chuck. I know this chuck, the depth is 3/8, so I'm going to make it a 1/4 inch. So let me change this to the top part, and you can watch it from the top. One thing I always do before turning, I always recommend to use a respirator and also to use a face shield to protect your eyes. Today, because I'll be talking, I'm not going to use a respirator. If you use this method, for making sure of the depth of the diameter, barely touch it. If you touch it too hard, it'll take it out of your hand and it could throw it back at you. Okay, now that we got that, let's go ahead and take this out. Put this in our chuck. Make sure you tighten up both sides of your chuck firm. If not, it could come out on you. It could open up. Now what I'll do is measure the diameter. We know it's 1.5 inches because we used the Forstner bit, but it's a possibility that Forstner bit could have gotten a little bit wider. And this right here is pretty close to 1.5. What you want to do is you want to make your jam tight, but not so tight that it breaks this. So I'm going to go ahead and take it just a little bit bigger than 1.5 inches, and then what I'm going to do, I want to fit it to my birdhouse. A little bit low. What on earth? I think we'll switch out to the bigger one. This is what I was telling you about, having different ones. This is I was using the mini.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to use, this is the MIDI. Oh, I know, okay. That's what you got to be careful of on that side, because you're going against end grain. Okay. Check it out. Okay, let's check it. Way too loose. So, we do the next best thing, make another one. Man. Well, we're back. I think we had a little bit of a mishap, and so now we're going to do it a little bit different here, and we're going to start this over again. This just goes to tell you that it can happen to anyone, and the only thing is, this is why you wear a mask and a respirator and any kind of protection that you can so you keep you from getting hurt. So what I'm going to do with this now, I'm going to go ahead and round this off. I'm still going to make my tenon. What we're working on right now, we're making a hummingbird nest, hummingbird house. And so I've got this pretty much done. And so now I'm making a jam chuck, and that jam chuck is going to go into this to where I can turn this. Turn this. And so now you just missed the excitement. That's what you missed. So now I'm going to do this a little different. I round it over. And you want to, when you're using a roughing gouge, you drop it just a little bit below center. And I'm what I call it, rubbing the bevel. So I'm riding this bevel. That's how it comes out so smooth. If I were to gouge it in, it would make a big gouge in it, and it would take your tool. How do you feel to see if it's round? You can feel it right there without turning it off. You take that last final cut real smooth and real slow. That keeps the ripples out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to true this end up here. You can use a parting tool or you can use a skew. I use a skew. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to make a tenon that fits into my chuck. I know my chuck diameter. My chuck diameter is about 1 3/4, 1 5/8. That'll be my diameter. And my length is going to only be 1/4 of an inch. I don't want it to completely bottom out. Okay? When I use these, again, I barely touch it, and you can see this is pointed away from me, just in case. I barely touch it. Went through, clean it up. What I'm trying to do is I want to make sure that my shoulder here is straight. Okay, so that it fits against my jaws. And I'll take this out. I cheat just a little bit. Instead of using a step center that goes into this, I like to use it on this. I don't like to keep taking my chuck off. I'm spoiled. So now I tighten it up. And one thing for safety, whenever you tighten this up, you see the spacing right here? You want that to be as close as possible, okay? That way you don't have all the vibration. The wider it is, the less support you have, okay? When it's tight like this, you're going to get a better turn. It'll be more balanced. Make sure it's tightened on both sides. And again, I'm going to, I do use a lot of calipers, huh, Steve?
Yes, sir.
So, 1.5, 1.5. I'm going to take it to about 1 3/8, 1 and 9, excuse me, 1 9/16. Your tenon doesn't have to be real long. Again, I want to true this up. You can see my wobble. And remember, the only support you have is on this jaw right now. I always like to use my tailstock when possible. So I'm going to draw, I can't because I'm going to clean this up. That's why you wear a respirator. And what I've used is a peeling action. I come up, start up here. As I start to peel, I'm pushing in, but I'm raising my right hand. Okay? Now that I have that, I'll make my tenon for my jam chuck. Take little bitty bites. Take your time. Don't have to be in a hurry. Okay. And now you start to fit it. Not quite ready. Take off little bitty bites. I'll just start right here. This is where it gets tedious. You just got to take your time. Ah, that's fitting, but it's a little bit loose. That's why I just took off this little piece right here, because now I don't have to take down as much, and I don't have to ruin my tenon. Ah, I took off too much. So, do I ruin it? No. What I'll do is get a piece of paper towel. In a way, it's probably better if it's a little bit on the looser side, because I know I won't crack it. I don't have that chance of cracking it like I would if it were wood against wood. Okay. This is such a relaxing hobby. might got that little, you know what, I might got that a little too loose. So I got a lot to play with here. Almost. This is where you gotta take your time. There we go. There we go. That is called, that's a good jam chuck. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round this over and I'm going to start tapering it down here at the very bottom down here. And I think before I do that, I'm going to take this down a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. You can see what I do in my shop. Always looking around. I want it just round. And I can see whether or not it's round by the silhouette at the very top, by the shadow at the top. Take a look. Yeah, no, it's not quite. Almost. Now when you're doing this, be careful. When you're putting your fingers in here, you got a hole here. Okay? So you got to be kind of careful. Okay? So, we've almost got that. I should have probably taken that down a little bit more. Boy, that's a good jam chuck. This should be good. There we go. Now that I have this round, I'll start probably about right below where the perch hole is, and I'll start tapering. So I'll know that I'll start tapering about right here. Doesn't have to be much of a taper, just something that looks ornamental. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little groove in here. And I'm going to put a 1/2 inch bead. I'll have this kind of float into this. Now we'll texture it. Take a look at it. Wow. What color do you like? Purple. Hey. So now, if you want to do a little bit more decorating on this, you got to be careful, okay? Because your wall thickness is not very thick at all, and when you do a beading on it, you might go through. So you do it in the part that is the thickest. And so, just for fun, I'm going to do a little bit. This is the Easy Wood beater. It's a 3/16. When I see As I wiggle and I look at the crown up here, when I'm looking at the top up here and I see that that crown is being hit and it's round, I'm done. If you go any deeper than that, all you're going to do is you're going to tear up that bead. So now I'm going to fade these two in. Then I have a little burn action. Now we've got that defined. And now, do a little sanding on it. I can probably start with about 120. Again, you got that hole there. And my hand's not anywhere around it. Now 220. All right. Now I'm going to do this off the air. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. I'm going to use a lacquer finish on it, and then we'll come back and we'll make the perch. So now that we have the bottom finished, we're going to do the top. We're going to fit this top on. And what I've done, I usually make these up in advance. So I'll usually turn these are about, from here to here is about 1 3/4 of an inch. Okay, I use a piece of 3x3, and then I do put a bead on it before I take them all apart. I usually have a piece that's about 7 inches long, and then I go from there. Okay, and then it makes about 4 roofs, and then I'll take it and I'll trim these things down. So what I am going to do is, that's one thing about these chucks. I don't have to do screws anymore. Again, I'm lazy. I can just pop these out. What took me about a good 6 minutes to do takes me less than 60 seconds. Now I'll fit this in. Yep. Check it. You see how it's not round? I'm looking at this right here. Okay, so that's my heavy part. This is one way to do it. And this is the other way to do it. Find your center point. So first thing I'm going to do is clean this up. And now I'll start to fit it to the top. Almost. Got it? Take this out. Yep. The only thing is, that's what makes it so nice and handy about this chuck. I can just pop them out now. And see if these will work. Okay. I'm not going to tie it real tight, I'm just going to firm it up. And now I'm going to make I want to form it. Make my top. I'm not going to draw up my bottom. What'll happen if you don't follow the bevel, so when you put it in here, it'll grab on you also. By following this bevel, it makes it real smooth. Your cuts are smoother. And what I'm doing right here, Stephen, I'm starting about 3 o'clock, and as I grab it, I start to open it up a little bit, and then follow it on through. And you can see when you start taking such big bites. That's a good bite. I'll probably take it down to about, I got about 1/4 of an inch right in this gap right here. If you don't have it at 3 o'clock, you can see where it starts to skate on you. Now I want to kind of make a little Chinese hat. there it is. Pretty much all there is to it. Now I'm going to make my little hole so I can hang it. I'll kind of cheat a little bit. That's my starter. And got that. And put that little decorative. Also, another thing is whenever you're adjusting your banjo here, you always have it to where it's straight. You got to have it where it's. People like to do this. That's not good. It's not stable. You put on your ways. This is called your ways. So you make sure it's square, and you turn this. Make sure you got enough room in here. And so if I want to define that a little bit more, I just get a little bit black. So now you got that. Now, the guy who does these, he says he can make them in each one in 7 minutes. He probably can. But it's a little dangerous. Here's your top. And now we'll do the perch. Use a little bit of this. You can make your perch any way you want. Okay. Okay. I'll get it round. Okay. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So now we've got our hummingbird house completed, finished. All we got to do is glue the top on, and it's ready for a bird, ready to move in.